Hey guys, Dazanar here. Just got rained on here at Twin Oaks Conservation Area. Had to take shelter in the bathroom even. But I'm out here with Suki and Cub, and I wanted to talk to you guys today about the upcoming recession that we're sliding into and the steps you should probably try and take to mitigate that and in the long run come out with a little bit extra money. So it's no mystery and no surprise that we're definitely heading into like some really bad economic situations right now. You've been hearing about inflation for like about a year, maybe a little less than a year. You've been hearing about inflation. I've been hearing about it since last October, and you've probably been feeling it since the war in Ukraine and Russia started. That's when inflation really started getting out of control. And in May and June, we started seeing those really high prices at the gas station. And also we still are seeing high prices at the grocery stores, and everything we're buying is just really expensive right now. It's really depressing. And the more I've looked into this, and professionals seem to be looking into this, it doesn't look like we're actually getting away from this economic situation, this kind of recession. It's going to get worse before it gets better. And the reasons I have to say this are because the Federal Reserve here in the United States, is not even done increasing interest rates to tackle inflation. That means they plan to keep increasing interest rates. And that makes it harder for everyone, including you and me, to borrow money from banks. But it also means businesses have a harder time borrowing the millions and billions of dollars that they do for business all the time. So we're gonna see some more downturn before things get better, including the interest rate hikes, but also they plan to make the job market a little worse. They need less people working, believe it or not. That's what the Federal Reserve needs, because they need less money in the market. They want people spending less, so there's less money out there. It's really crazy. I don't understand all of it, but I understand enough to know that we're still in the shitstorm that's coming our way. And I know a few things, which I'm going to explain to you now, that you can do to try and mitigate this. And the first thing is get some work. If you're not working right now, I know a lot of you that follow me and subscribe are very young and going through college and maybe don't have an actual job. I recommend you get some work. Like, part-time work isn't that big a deal. If you're lucky, you can find a job that'll maybe only make you work once or twice a week, and you can do 10 to 20 hours a week, anything like that, and start building up some money. If you are past this point of needing part-time work, it's definitely time to try and find some more full-time work at this point, because it's just going to be harder to find that kind of work in the upcoming months as they make the job market more attractive and harder for people to get employed, by making it harder for these big businesses to borrow the money that they always borrow on the regular to do their regular transactions. So it's going to be harder for business to do business. So yes, find some work. That's the biggest thing you can kind of do for yourself right now, is increase how much income you're kind of making. It's hard to not spend less right now because all the prices are going up. If you could travel less, but that's not really practical for a lot of people. Use less electricity, so you could consume less right now is your second tip. Try and consume less and cut back wherever you can. But that's not always practical in this society where you consume more and more and more, and that's just what business itself does too. Any reduction in growth is seen as negative, so it might be harder for even you to cut back in your life. The third thing I think people need to do is save up some money on the side so that you can invest. Recessions and depressions are the best times where you can invest in an economy. And as an everyday retail trader or investor, which means you don't have any experience really. You're not gonna know when to invest for optimal returns, but you can kind of make small investments the entire time during a recession, or when you know a recession is coming to you, because you're never going to guess the bottom, as they say, but you can buy little bits while stocks, the NASDAQ, all of that stuff is going to be coming down over the next year. It's already come down a lot this year. I think it's going to continue to try and find the bottom over this year. And this is the time that you buy, because in 2, 3, 4 years, if we don't go into depression, which I'll briefly talk about that, you'll make huge returns on that investment if you don't want to hold it for the long term. But you'll make huge returns, because that's kind of how stock, NASDAQ, the S&P, these markets, these financial markets, that's how they respond. There's this initial dip where everyone is having to reorganize and change their tactics, including investing tactics and whatnot. And eventually that period is over and the money just flushes back into the market, and you can make really good gains that way if you know when to invest, or just dollar cost average invest. So the third advice I give you is save some money so that you can just use that money to invest in the stock market or some sort of financial market right now, because that is the time you are going to see the most gains in your life when investing, unless you get lucky and you invested in some pump and dump right before it pumped and you sold when it pumped. So I think I want to keep it basic and simple, and I'm not an expert or anything, but you want to find work right now, because it's going to get harder to find work, and you need that income to help offset the costs of this recession. And you're going to want to possibly reduce your consumption if possible, so that you're not spending as much where you don't maybe need to. And you want to save up some money so that you can specifically use it to invest, because recessions are the best time to invest into financial markets, because you're going to see the best gains in the short term on that investment. So yeah, I believe those are some of the things you can do to help yourself right now during this recession. I said I'd talk about how this could go into a depression. Well, yeah, that's another tip. Things can always get worse. That's what you have to tell yourself when buying crypto or stocks. It can always go down. And right now, things can always get worse in this recession. Imagine if the war in Ukraine just gets worse, Russia decides to use other means or even a nuclear weapon, and it's apparent that things are just terrible or bleak. Or what if things drag on so long that even China decides to do something in Taiwan, and then the entire world market no longer gets their chips, their microchips. So there are things that can make this turn even worse than just a recession and make us go towards a depression, which I don't have any advice on what to do during a depression. Ooh, excuse me. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please like, comment, subscribe, all that fun stuff. And I will catch you in the next one. Wow, these cicadas are so loud.